Surf Splendor.
When I'm looking at my phone, I have notes on my phone. I'm not texting.
Okay.
Just FYI.
I don't know. Someone texting, I'm fine. No big deal.
Well, what I wanted to ask you though is, you finished 8th in the world, 89.
7th.
7th?
Well, my highest was 7th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mistake then. And I think 8th in 1990, then 10th in 2021. Fell off the tour in I'm saying 2021.
So 89,
1991 is what I'm saying.
So the 87-88 year was a leap year. I finished 30th. 1988, I finished 14th. 1989, I finished 8th. 90, I finished 7th. And then 91, I finished 10th. Right. And then in 92, I won Bell's, the first contest. Woohoo! World champ for 3 weeks. Yay! But my back went out, and 10 minutes left of the final against Martin Potter. And luckily, thank you, Lord, it didn't go flat, but it was small enough to where Potter, you're going to watch this. You need a 9.5 to beat me. That's all there's to it. And there was nothing coming in big enough or good enough because he needed a huge score. And I started off with 8.59, 8.59, and had nothing but 7.5s afterwards. Potter had like an 8.5, an 8.5, like a 7.5 and a 7. So he needed a big score to get me because, man, we were killing it. We were ripping. But my back went out.
I thought you ended up in the hospital, right?
Yeah, I basically sat on the beach for over an hour until they finally came and got me, put me up in the back. No one came really to say hi besides the doctors and the crazy guys that were telling me I was going to die. And that was it. Ambulance came, took me to the hospital, no phone calls.
Really?
Sat there for like 3 hours, no phone calls. The only guy that called me was the guy that carried me up the beach on the stretcher. A good friend and brother, Pete Smith, and his wife, Carrie.
And so when did you find out that you won?
Already knew I won.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Because there's 10 minutes left of the final. I was on the beach going playing in the sand like you did when you were a kid.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And PT says, oh, looks like, he's looking down like, oh, looks like Richie might have hurt his back, whatever, or hurt his knee or something like that. And I'm looking at him going, no, dude, I'm not moving. I just stayed there. And that was exactly at 30 minutes. There was 10 minutes left. And about 5 minutes later, Potter throws his hands up and goes, pfft. And then there was about 2 minutes later, 2 minutes left in the final, he turned around and paddled in. And I was still stuck on the beach, and he said, congratulations, and he walked away.
Jeez.
And I was still on the beach.
No sympathy.
Nothing. Well, he didn't really know.
Sure.
Because he was pissed off out of his mind because I just kicked his ass. Yeah. So.
I thought the story was you hit a rock.
So in the earlier heats, the cliff, rocks come down. So this big giant rock fell off about, I would say, maybe 10 yards off the cliff. And it was me and 𝐂𝐤𝐿 were in, I think it was the quarters of the semis, I can't remember. And we were surfing behind the rock because it was so small. It was only like knee to waist high. And barely maybe shoulder high set would come in. But every wave kept hitting the rock. And we'd do our turns and then we'd kick out before the rock. I'm like, I'm over it. I'm going to go right by that rock. I don't care. I've floated the jetties. I've shot the piers. I've done crazy things that nobody will do, So I took off on my wave, big turn, full speed at the rock, got high, timed it. Here's the rock. The wave hit. I went below, full speed. Wave isn't near me. Came around, did a bottom turn in between the cliff and the rock, came around and hit the lip on the other side of the rock and rode the rest of the wave. People freaking lost it.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a photo in my phone of it. And it was amazing. So I heard later on, they put a plaque or carved my name, Richie Collins Rock. Okay. So I went back for, I think it was a 30-year or 40-year or 50-year Rip Curl Pro anniversary. All the past winners got to come back. Finally got to ring the bell. I never got to ring the bell.
Because you were in the hospital?
Because I was in the back while they were celebrating.
Yeah.
Let me remind you, nobody came back. From the ASP, from Rip Curl, nobody came back to see how I was doing. Nobody. I was in the hospital. Nobody called me. So when I went back, they told me about it. I was like, okay, that's cool. Went down, checked it out, but the rock had moved. It had come in a little bit, so it rolled up. I'm looking at the rock going, there's no way I did that. There's no way I did that. I was tripping. Like, yeah. Whoa, like crazy, but yeah. And that's what they, oh, I can't believe Richie just went around the rock. Oh, Richie just hit the rock. That's where it came from. Gotcha. I never hit the rock.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. For some reason in my mind, I had it connected that it was related to your back going out.
My back went out because it's been going out for years, and because I broke my back windsurfing back when I was 14.
Oh.
And I didn't find out till 4 years later that it grew back crooked when I went paralyzed in France my first year on tour. Came back, got x-rays, and the great doctor Tim Brown back in the day, he was working on a couple of us and then everybody in the whole industry. And he traveled. I traveled with us. This is right when I first met him. But when I first met him was during the OP before I went to Europe. And I was looking at him, and he looked at me and go, hey, do you want me? And I go, I wouldn't let you touch me with a 10-foot pole. I think my words were a little different back then. But he goes, oh, yeah, cool. Right on, no worries. And then a few months later, called my sister. My sister, oh, go see Bill's brother, Tim. And I'm like, okay. I didn't know who he was. My sister's ex-boyfriend from high school. And so I go show up. He's not there. I do my x-rays, go back the next day. And sure enough, I'm in his office waiting. And he shows up. I'm like, oh, I'm done.
That's funny.
But the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Cool, beyond unbelievable. If it wasn't for him, I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for Tim Brown, I would have never walked again or surfed.
Really?
Yeah, because we had to re-break my back.
No way.
And pull everything apart, straighten it, because my bones, my vertebrae grew back crooked with no discs. They seized together in the opposite direction and pulled everything apart, strengthened my stomach like Rocky Balboa type, hanging upside down. Cross sit-ups, upside down, 50 to 100 of them. Working every bone, crazy things that we started doing in, I think, 88, the end of 88.
Oh, okay.
It was just 87, 88. Yeah. The beginning of the next tour, I think it was, in 88. I think that was it. Pretty sure that was it. Maybe it was 87. Might have been 87. So, but yeah.
It kind of a different topic of conversation, but it seems like you were one of the last guys that I could think of who were shaping your own boards while on tour.
Yes. I was the only guy shaping my own boards on tour that made the top 30, top 16, top 10. Richo from Australia, he was shaping his own boards too at the time. And it was cool because we became friends. Great guy, great shaper, great designer. And besides Simon Anderson, who was not really doing the tour,
right?
But he was kind of like just off, done, But I would do my whole board. Shape, airbrush, lamb, hot coat, and sand. Do the whole thing. Design it, redesign it, learn about fins, doing everything. So,
I mean, that example of figuring out how to do the turn you want and having the knowledge to be able to adjust the design itself is an example of why that's beneficial.
Yeah.
But do you think that it hindered you at all trying to?
Big time. Because the designs I came up with to work for me in the 80s, I redesigned the forefin, the tri-fin, and the twin fin. All three of those. I redesigned them by about 85, 86. And then when I went on tour, alls I rode, I still got the forefin I took on tour out here. My first year on tour, I've got it. Actually, it's out there. And after Japan, I rode in Japan. After Hawaii, never rode it again. Took out a tri-fin, started riding my tri-fin. And that was a redesigned tri-fin from the one I have back here, different. And so everything I did, watching everybody surf, how to do the turn better, it was like everything was going around in my mind. Right. I didn't sleep much on tour.
Right.
I would go to bed about 9 while everybody went out and drank and ate. I was up by 2, twiddling my thumbs. Couldn't get that. Anxiety, stressed, freaking out of my gorge. All the boys used to say, hey, dude, you need to start smoking pot. No, never have, never will. I will learn to somehow, but that was years later.
Thanks to Adam Sandler.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was him.
I can't remember, but
yeah,
I heard. Yeah.
Just like I learned to play golf because of Adam Sandler. Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Watched it at my shop right after I got married and went, let's go. Went to Sports Mart, bought a pair of clubs straight. If he can do it, I can do it. So designing everything for me since the early 80s, from everything from the 70s all the way into the early 80s, seeing everything and learning to finally understand how everything works. Just like cars, the aerodynamics of a car or an airplane. The reasons why boards can't work like this because they're not a boat. The reason why a boat can't work like this because it's not a surfboard. But there's a lot of stuff that will, blend that you can make a perfect product. People say, oh, what's the I got to find the perfect rocker. Well, you can look all day long, but you're doing it wrong. There is a perfect rocker out there, and I believe I have it. Because doing the tour, all of us doing the tour, we couldn't bring 10 to 15 boards on the tour with us. We had to only bring most of 3. If we wanted to bring 4 and watch our fins get broken out, we'd bring 4. But we only could bring 3 boards. So I had to redesign a board after about 86, 87, and make sure it worked on knee-high mush or 4 to 6 foot pipe. And that's what I did.
That's crazy.
So if I go surf Japan or anywhere in the world and it's knee-high mush, I'll be tearing the thing apart. When I get to pipe, Rocky Point, V-Land, I have to ride my 6'1". And that's what I did. And people would trip on me. When I was in France, when I got second at 𝐂𝐿, I'm riding my 6'1". He's riding a 6'9" or a 7'8". Dude, you want to use my gun? Nope, I'm fine on my 6'1". Go out there, catch just as big as waves as those guys, and doing just as fine as those guys are. Like, dude, how do you do that? I just have to.
But you do agree that it hindered your potential?
Oh yeah, it hindered me because when I designed this thing, I tried to give it to my shaper to shape one. He couldn't do it. I tried to give it to my dad to do it. He couldn't do it. It's just like every board that is designed by a shaper cannot be mimicked by another shaper. Even if it's a cut blank, you still can't do it. More towards nowadays, if it's just a basic, yeah. But if I give someone my cut blank and go shape it, it won't look like mine.
Yeah.
Because the little tinkers that a professional artist or a designer has, that little that makes a whole big difference.
Well,
everything.
That's when I think about, like, were you maybe the last self-shaper on tour? I don't think it's because guys nowadays are lazy or they don't have the interest in design. I think it's more...
They don't need to.
Well, correct, because you can't do both things at a world-class level, maybe.
You can, but I think somebody could do it because they have plenty of time.
We all have 24 hours a day. Like, if...
I used to stay up for 3 days in a row and build boards. And when I'd pass out and sleep for a day.
But you could have spent those 3 days in a row surfing. So that's kind of my point is like if Paisel or Britt Merrick or Marcio Zuvi, whoever, is dedicating those 3 days, the rest of their life, to perfecting this thing, and then John is spending all of his time 10 hours a day in the water perfecting that thing. Yeah. If you can marry those two things up, the sum is greater than.
But let me tell you something that's even a better sum is someone like me that can surf really well, as Rip, be in the top 10, beat all the world champions and everything, designing your boards. What do you think's a better odd that you're going to have a better board?
A great surfer shaping the boards.
Yeah. Someone that's done and surfed every wave in the world.
Yeah.
And designed one board to work in all conditions. Not bringing 5 to 10 boards to go, oh, this is the one that's going to work.
Did you ever have, through that era, guys asking you for boards, competitors?
Yes, I did. The late 80s, I had a bunch of guys wanting to get my boards because, okay, Rusty, Priesendorfer, Uncle Rusty, he had a lot of great team riders, some Aussies and, U.S. guys. And I was out there doing my thing on the so-called Weird Looking MR board, which was my design. It wasn't stemmed off of, it was my dad's, to where I revamped it, made it different to where it worked to that time surfing. And they were laughing at me. But after a year, they weren't laughing at me anymore. After they saw me go from nothing to this, to passing them all, they're like, okay. Oceanside stubbies, south side, down the beach surfing, doing my thing. I see Rusty. I'm 200 yards away. I'm away from so no one can see me. Rusty sees me. Walks all the way down the beach. When he sees me, walks all the way. He goes, "What's up, Richie?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on, Rusty?" He goes, "Can I look at your board?" Why? You're like the best shaper. He goes, "Because I'm having a lot of my guys like Gary Green asking me, wondering how you can go through flats so fast, and they're struggling. You're like going like this, and they're going like that." "Oh, sure, go ahead." Just looking at it, and I'm going, "Do you see anything?" He's all, I don't know how you do it." And it wasn't just the board. It was the person behind the board. I mean, you look at Kelly Slater goes out and rides a frickin' ironing board. He rips on it. Just because you see somebody ripping on the board doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I mean, I made a lot of boards for people because I still shape for people and built boards for people. And when I had guys coming to me, say, "Hey, will you make me a board? Will you make me a board?" Guys I competed against, I was all for it. I couldn't shape them because I didn't have time to shape 10 guys' boards. I didn't have time. "Hey, Dad, let's make these guys boards. These are the top surfers in the world, not the back half. These are the top guys. One number 1 guy, one number 3 guy, one number 6 guy, one number 12 guy, one number 8 guy. These guys. Let's just make these guys boards and give them to them." "Nah, charge them." "Are you freaking kidding me?" No. I still got to make a few guys boards, and I did shape them, and I didn't get paid to shape them. And I kind of think I might have lamb hawked and sand them too. I can't remember. Just because my dad wanted to make them pay, and I didn't. So I did it. Okay? And I'm like,
yeah,
you still have to give some money. And they were pissed. That's not how you do business.
Yeah.
The world champion who won the title that year wanted to get a board from me. If I would have made him a board and gave it to him, and he won one contest on that board, yeah, we're doing 300 to 500 boards in Japan a year. Could you? And that was just because of me. Could you imagine that guy not winning the world championship on my board, Wave Tools, but maybe 1 or 2 contests that worked in a certain condition?
Blow up the brand.
You think just 300 to 500 boards to Japan and the other 300 to 500 boards we were doing a year was going to be a lot? No. It would have, boom.
Yeah.
And imagine 10 other guys that were fighting for that title at the same time.
He just didn't see the vision.
Doesn't have that type of a vision.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I have that vision.
He was already doing more than he probably ever imagined.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know why. I did the tour as business. I wanted to win a world title.
Right.
But at the same time, this business is supposed to be mine. I'm going to put everything I have into this business. Never got paid once. Made all my own boards and paid for them. Okay? I worked my ass off to get where I was by myself. I learned from the 70s when Bob Hurley worked in the shop, shaped boards for my dad. Carl Harewood was there. The Bronzed Aussies were there. You know, PT and Ian used to come in there and shape boards. That's when Shane Horan would come in, like, I think it was like 77 or something like that. I'm just a little tiny 8-year-old kid, like, Dad's like, hey, look, there's PT and Ian and Shane Horan's coming. I'm like, what? What? So like I said, Shane's like an uncle, like real true, and Peter Townend and Ian. I mean, those guys came to my dad's shop and built boards. You know, I don't know how many they did. I didn't pay attention. I don't know. I just remember they were in the shaping room with Shane making boards, you know. So.
But your thought was, this company that my dad's built, and these boards are great. I can go on tour, use tour as a marketing vehicle, yes, and blow up the brand.
Blow up.
And he just couldn't
understand it. And to this day, he still doesn't get it.
Did he not pay attention to professional or competitive surfing?
No, he did.
He did.
But not in that sense. He was 70s. He was 60s and 70s. So he was still stuck in that era. When the 80s came around, and it blew up for my dad in the 80s, like late 70s, early 80s. I mean, it blew up big. We did a lot of boards. We were doing like 8 boards a day or 10 boards a day or something like that out of a factory. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know? So, and every one of those boards were pretty much airbrushed, glossed, and polished. Not just sand. There was no sand and finish until 83, 84. And I think for me, I did that. And so for me, I saw the future. I could see the future. I have a very good business mind on seeing the future. And I've always done that with my stuff. If you're a good surfer, look, I'm sorry, I can't afford to give you a board, but what I can do is discount it so far down that you're only going to pay what I pay.
Cover costs.
Yes, and that's what I do. And I've been doing that for years. And even in Hawaii, a big wave rider, ex-world champ, I made a friend of mine a board. I came out with this new twin fin that just, it's just incredible. And when I went over there, I made one for my buddy. He's out there riding at V-Land. And guy was out there surfing. He goes, oh, what are you riding? He goes, oh, I got this Richie Collins twin fin. Oh, man, you're ripping on it. Let me try it. He tries it and loved it. Loved it. Never ridden a twin fin like it, ever. You can't get a twin fin like this. Nobody makes them. They're trying right now. It's going to be funny. It's interesting. They'll figure it out. But he calls me or texts me and they say, hey, this is so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. And I say, come on over. Here, I got one. I got a 6.3 you can try. I got a 6.1. I got a 6.0. Goes and rides and goes, dude, these things work insane. Can you make me one? I'm leaving to Nicaragua tomorrow or the next day. I'm like, oh, man. I can't get it cut and everything and do it quick enough. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I went that night. I was down working. I'm sitting there getting ready. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got back from California and I had some blanks sitting in my shaping room because I have my shaping room in my garage that I moved over. And I'm like, oh, and I just brought them back with me. And I'm like, text him, hey, I'll have your board done tomorrow night. So I woke up in the morning, shaped it, airbrushed it, lamb hot coated it, got it all done. And I just collapsed. I had to do all my other work too. I was just like, dude, I got to sand this thing. I can't. I can't see straight. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I just got done working at 14 hours. Not just on boards, but remodeling a house, I was doing 4 jobs, doing 14, 16-hour days. And he goes, yeah, that's fine. I don't leave till the next morning. I'm like, okay, great. I'll sand it tomorrow morning, like at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up, go sand it. Comes in about 8 o'clock to pick it up. He's all cool. And he's like, Finley goes, hey, one of the edges is further up than the other. I'm like, seriously, dude? Really? He goes, I'm like, I was so messed up still from the day before. I couldn't even feel it. I was like, God, come on. Picture it. I'm like, okay. So I sanded it down. I go, can you feel it now? He goes, little bit more. I go, because I couldn't feel it.
Interesting.
My fingers from construction and building the boards for 16 hours that day before, they were raw. I couldn't feel anything. So finally got it, goes down, rides it, and just loved it. He came back, ordered a couple more, and he goes, do you have any guns? Like, maybe I can try? I'm like, yeah, the biggest gun I have is like 7.6. He goes, oh, can I try? Sunset was about 4 to 6 feet, goes out and rides it, and just top to bottom, just loving it. Can I get one? Sure. Do you have anything smaller? Oh, yeah. He goes, hey, I don't ride anything smaller. I'm good with the 6.3. Okay, then he gets an 8.0. I'm like, well, I'm not guaranteeing the 8.0 is going to work because I don't know. I haven't tested it yet. I'll do it. So I made it. Loved it. So now he's got a bunch of boards from me, rides them in, got twin fins that ride small waves, that he also rides in them bigger waves. Last board I made him was a 9.8 to ride big Sunset. I made him a 9.0. He rode Totus on. He's ridden at Sunset. He surfed bigger Lonnies on it, Jocko's on it, and he's come up with some ideas that I don't want to do. I don't like anybody telling me what to do at all when it's my designs. It takes me a while because when I come up with a design, I dream about it. And it becomes a dream. Like this was a dream that I had. And the next day, I'm like, holy crap, that's going to work. It took me 3 years to finally put one out. Cutting the bottoms, redesigning them on the computer. Because you can hand shape these, but it takes forever.
When you say came to you in a dream, do you mean you woke up in the middle of the night with an idea?
No.
Or do you mean literal dream?
Literally dreamt about it at night. I have solved problems that I couldn't solve, dreaming about, and solved my problem in my dreams.
And when you wake up, you can remember?
Yes. When I dream, I try to act in my dreams, playing the part in my dream.
Because you're aware that you're dreaming, and so you can kind of engage in it?
Yes. I try to engage in my dreams. And one time I was dreaming and my back went out and I woke up and my back was out. I didn't like that dream.
That's a nightmare.
That was no fun. Damn, my back went out. Oh, it's out. So
tell me about this board design specifically. We've got one sitting here for people wondering what we're talking about.
I think it's been about 10 years now that I had this dream, but to be fair, because I don't take all the credit, it is not something new. It's just something that I've perfected and made it 100 times better than the first design that I saw.
Okay.
Was from the early 70s that I have of an 𝐂𝐤𝐿 wing pintail in my side yard that has the same idea that MR came up with in the late 70s, early 80s with his twin fin. I've just abbreviated it way more than anybody could possibly imagine. And since I did that, going to Huntington to pick up some money that I left a board for, to throw in the cell, I went back there. It's when MR came out with his new retro twin fin. Went back there and he was fixing one of them. And I was checking, like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, and all of a sudden, my mind just exploded. And by the time I got my stuff, drove home, my mind wouldn't stop working. Did my thing that day, went to bed, and dreamt about the way I was going to shape it, everything about it to the smallest little 16th of an inch or smaller. Everything about the board in my dream. Woke up in the next morning and said, I have to make it happen because it's going to work. Called my, is everything good? All right, thank you. Called my buddy Mark Sweeney that owns the machine. Talked to him. Can this be done? Yes, it can. Now, in the early 80s, I think it was 80, 82, 83, I shaped a couple for Greg Mungle, okay? Because nobody would do it. So Rabbit had one that he got from Hot Stuff, I think back in the day, because it was kind of like with some channels in it. And he told me about it. So I shaped it. And back then I wasn't a very good shaper, but I was willing to try. Oh my God, it took forever. I think I did 3. I ain't doing it anymore. So Greg tried to do them himself, and he did okay with it, but he wasn't a shaper. He never could do as good as me. But never did it again. Over it. Just regular flat bottom V's, no big deal. So I went with Mark on the computer, showing me how to do things. And that's right when I started doing my own computer work, because before I just, hey, punch in these numbers and do it.
Yeah.
But I started doing my own computer work, so I had to have him come over here to show me all the little things to use to do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. And so it just, that day, came up with some, and it's just like all day long, hours and hours and hours, 3 years of this. Can't do it anymore. Put it on the burner for 3 months. Start dreaming about it again. How do I do it in the computer? Now I'm trying to figure out how to do it in the computer. So learning how to look at the computer like I'm looking at a surfboard, you know, and moving the shape up and down on the computer going, all right, hey, you guys got any crappy blanks that I could just do the back left bottom of the tail just to look at it? Yeah, sure, we got something. Throw it up there, just the back left, that's it. I don't need the top, just quick and do it. Yep, look at it. God, man, there's the bumps are there, the bump, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, again and again and again. And it's like, okay, let's do one whole side 6-8 months later. And I'm doing the back tail every 3 months, fix it for a week, do it again. Oh, God, I'm over it. Oh, my mind is just gone. A year later, it's looking better. No, it's still not right. It's just not right. And I just take some months off, right into my tri-fins, whatever. And I'm just having the dream again. And I'm thinking again and again and again. Finally, 3 years later, I got this thing, sent it to Sweeney. Dude, check this out. Tell me what you think. Is there anything that you see that I need to change? No, looks good. Let's do it. Get a phone call from a friend in Hawaii. Hey, you know, I want to order a couple twin fins. You still make? Oh, I got something for you. I made one for me, made 2 for this kid, and I made one for my daughter. And they came out really good. Put them together, did my thing, put the future boxes in, and the boards, I knew they were going to work, but I did not know they were going to be rocket ships. I did not know they were going to be beyond imaginable that they worked that good. But then ran into a problem. Boxes kept blowing out. Boxes kept blowing out. Couldn't figure it out. Had to go to Future a few years later and just go, hey, we need to figure something out. And I had an idea what to do because I was doing it in epoxy boards a little bit and regular boxes that were breaking. And I had an idea, but I was like, yeah, you know, that's kind of weird. So I went to Vince and I talked to him. They said, yeah, that'll work. So I did it. And it worked. No more boxes breaking out. Unless you got hit by a car or you ran straight into somebody or some weird, crazy accident. Weren't breaking boards. Weren't breaking the boxes out. All the guys in Hawaii, yeah, but you know, boxes break out. Not mine. They don't break out. Never, ever had a problem again until longboard flew up in the air, landed on this guy's head, 17 staples in his head, pushed the box down into the board. And you guys don't ride the boards up on the rocks. Do not board the boards up on the reef, because no matter how good I do, no matter what I do, it's going to break. And a couple pushed in, but mostly like little hair fractures. And you can tell on the fin, you hit something, you know? So with the guys in Hawaii, worked it out. The guy I've been making the boards for, the big wave boards, he's just been riding them as hard as he can. A couple people trying to copy him, but I don't think they're working as good because they have to hand shape them, and it's not easy to hand shape one of these things because there's two separate rockers in the bottom. They're not the same rocker, two totally different rockers, and actually three. I think there's three different rockers in the bottom tail. Yeah, there's three different rockers. And so when the 𝐂𝐸𝐿 wave pool comes along, they were working great. Twin fin was killing it. All of a sudden, fins were breaking again. I go, you got to be kidding me. Hitting concrete. All right. Redesign. Did the same thing. Did some more stuff. Did some old 70s stuff. And haven't had a problem ever since. So I have to glass my boards because the way I glass them, no one else will glass them that way. And if someone wants to glass my boards, they'll probably charge me extra $50 to glass my boards the way I have mine go, because of the boxes, because of the torque in between the wing and the fin. You have to glass them like I do, or they just pop out.
Yeah.
Because the harder you press on the tail off the bottom, the better the board works. I have taken my twin fin backside better than any tri-fin I ever made my whole life. It works, but twin fins don't work backside. Oh, this thing works better backside than front side. I have taken my twin fin, old guy, V-Land. It was about 2 or 3 years ago, the waist head high going off. Yeah, I just sit out there, cruise, a couple of my buddies, all these kids and the new kids on the block. This old uncle dude, gray hair, whatever. I take off on this wave. I do my bottom turn, waves over my head, comes straight off the bottom, straight up into the lip while it's barreling, upside down, full carve around, straight back down into another carve, big snap. Everybody's like, what did I just witness with this old guy? Who the guy? You know? All the new crew don't know me. My crew does. Who's this guy? Oh, that's Richie Collins. This guy, he was back in the day, whatever. I have done everything I can on this board to release the tail. You can't. You cannot release the tail. Only if you get the fins out, you can release the tail. And it slides faster than a tri-fin, but when it hooks in, it hooks and goes. I've watched a guy drop in about 8-foot wave at sunset on his 8.0 twin fin. Paddling up the face on an 8.0, this guy's taking off on the shoulder. He flips it underneath him while the thing's cracking. I'm on it like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm just drops in, airdrop, tippy toes on this twin fin. Board hits, he engages straight into a bottom turn, straight up. I'm out, I went in. Done. I know my board works. I don't have to test it anymore. I don't have to know anything about it. When I saw that, I was amazed. It reminded me of 𝐂𝐸𝐿 when he was surfing Sunset, because this guy's goofy foot too. Surfing Sunset and taking off late and landing and doing a super hard bottom turn straight up into it. I picture that, what he did. And only 𝐂𝐸𝐿 I've ever seen do that at Sunset because he's strong enough. Yeah. And that's it. Carol, I mean, I've seen him do it, but not like that.
Yeah.
And what I just witnessed this guy, no,
Crazy.
I was just blown away.
So the design, this board right here, what is that, like 6'8" maybe?
It's a 7.0 fun board that I designed a few years back when I was in Hawaii, and it had a lot more rocker in it because I was just taking templates and just shrinking them and extending them to see if they worked, and they all work. But
it's the same twin fin setup.
Same twin fin setup. Everything is the same.
So that was my question: is can you make it in different outlines?
Yeah, that one right there, the yellow one you see right there, same board.
So it could be a pointy short board. It could be this fun size board,
9 foot long board,
or a 9 foot long board, all with the same twin fin.
All
setup
the same twin fin setup. And what the good thing is back in the 80s, trying to make twin fins to work in Hawaii. Yeah, my 6'3" and my 6'6" shortboard worked great if I was surfing like Sunset Point or Lonnie's or Rocky Point, but I could never surf bigger Sunset. And the boards were going too fast. If I tried to surf 4 to 6 foot Sunset, I was just going way too fast. So I tried to make myself a 6'9", went out, didn't work at all, over it, sold it, gone. Could never figure out how to make them work. But on the computer, interesting, when I made a longer one, I went for my tail template that I've had since 85, same one I've been using since 85. Threw that on there. I'm like, why is the wing further up? It's like, huh? I'm like, well, I can't fix it. Why is the wing farther back? Well, I can fix that, but then it takes off out of the hook. And that's kind of, with those, the 7.0 mini tank or whatever, that's its own design. So the wing is cut further back, so I have to cut the wing in. So it takes a little of the hook out, so I add a little hook into it more. Takes me a little longer to shape those. But I think it had to do with the wing placement.
Okay.
Because remember when the Stinger came out?
Yeah.
And the Stinger was, this new thing, you can paddle fast, it's got a narrower tail, you can turn better. Worst board ever designed besides the laser zap. The board sucked. My dad tried everything to do to make them work. Little tiny fins, jets in the bottom, everything he could. That board was terrible. Ben Ipa came back out with it back in the late 80s. A little bit more round to give it a little bit more freedom with the tri-fin. Everybody started riding them. They were working good. But you know what? They weren't consistent enough. So they all went back to the basic tri-fin. Great thing. And now Duke is making them again. Great board. Awesome board to make off of the legacy of his father. People are digging them, But for performance-wise, super high performance, I don't think the Stinger, or I should call the Sting, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to correct you.
It used to be, we called it the Stinger back in the day. Back in the 70s, my dad, we called it the Stinger. Ipa called it the Sting. We called it the Stinger. So, tomato, doesn't matter.
His version is the Sting.
Yes. So, trying to make something always work that never really worked in the first place is not easy. Just like all these retro boards coming back. Oh, yeah, look at me, bro, dude, I'm so cool. Oh, get away from me. You guys want to be cool? Go right ahead. I want to make boards for everybody, whether you're just learning how to surf or you're the best surfer in the world. When I make my board, it's the same as I'm going to make for the best surfer in the world, the biggest guy in the world, or the littlest kid in the world. Nothing changes. I don't change anything. I just take the board and grow it or shrink it. And I have enough templates on the computer now. This person wants a 411. I got it. This person wants a 9.8. Got it. Anything in between? I got it. But when it has to change, like, I got it, but it's too thick, or I got it, it's too thin, I got to make it thicker or thinner, that's when I have to start manipulating the whole thing again. No outlines, no rockers. It's just once you do the thickness and stuff, you got to start doing the even flow of the thicknesses and the rails and make sure they're right. So if I hurt anybody's feelings, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be. But as my friend asked me if I was going to speak my mind, I have to do a little bit. But everybody has their own concepts, and I love it. I think it's great.
Well, how often do you ride other shapers' surfboards?
Don't need to anymore. I never did when I was younger. I tried a couple here and there, but the way I watched people surf them, I just didn't like them. I didn't like the way they worked. And, I mean, I lived with Bradshaw every winter for like 4 or 5 years, you know, and we shaped a board for me, my outline and design with his concept. And I got it sitting right there. It's called the Kenny Collins Richie Bradshaw model. We did that, I think, when I was 16 or 17. I still have it. I ain't getting rid of that thing. You know, I worked with 𝐂𝐸𝐿 in the early 90s, 91. I had shaper's cramp. I couldn't shape a board for the life of me. Next best thing, hey, Al, what's up? Can I get a board from you? What? You want to get a board? Yeah, I need someone that knows how to shape a board right now. What about your dad? Nah, I want you to shape it. I need something different. You know, I need to go way away from what I'm doing. Yeah, come on up. Went up there, shaped a board. That's not what I ride. I gave him my tail template, but that's not what I ride. Went out in the OP Pro, got second. Hey, I need another one. Went to go pick it up. This isn't what you shaped me before. I couldn't remember which one. Oh, God, this is nothing compared to what we shaped a week ago or a couple months ago, whatever. I'm like, all right, that's the new thing. Made it, hated it. Had to go to Europe. No choice. But I had to ride it. I had the good one. I got the second on the OP. I had the new one he made me and a couple of my stragglers. You know, my go-tos. And I brought like 8 boards to England because I brought boards to sell. Go to France, 1 board bag shows up.
Ooh.
Guess what board bag showed up? The one with all the stragglers. So bad. The boys show up, half our boards show up. I got the wrong board bag. I am so bummed. Contest is in 4 days. Wait, no. Contest is in 2 days, and I don't have my boards. Oh, man, I got to ride this Merrick. This thing just sucks. I wake up in the morning. We're at 𝐂𝐸𝐿. I can't sleep. I never could sleep. I walk out. It's flat. There ain't a freaking wave in sight. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This sucks. And all of a sudden, I'm looking, what's that? And I see this left come in and just peel over 100 yards long. I'm like, not a wave in sight. I'm like, what was that? And I'm like, and another one comes, like, whoosh, whoosh. I run back as fast as I can, grab that board, wax it up. Dude, it's pumping. Sonny and everybody's like, I'm like, I'm out. Ran down there by myself. Where'd that wave go? Wait. I could see the lines. I paddle out as fast as I can. Wave comes in. I take off on this thing. And I'm like, dude, this thing's such a dog. And I'm like, start riding it, catching it. I surf for like 45 minutes. And the board starts working magical. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was top to bottom. Boom. Way better than the OP Pro board. Way better. It had more rocker. So I was used to going straight down like bigger carves. This thing had the one I got second OP, that Merrick, had less rocker. The new one had more rocker, so it was slow. It was this new concept, double barrel, whatever. And it was a kind of more of a mushy wave, but I learned how to ride the board. I had no choice, and it started killing it. And I went out and I just killed it in the contest. The next one rode it. I think I got like, what year was that? Was it the year I got second, third, and second, maybe? I can't remember. Anyway, I did very well. Second, fifth, and a ninth, maybe. I can't remember. But I get back, and I do that board, blah, 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 blah. It was like blowing up Richie Collins riding 𝐂𝐸𝐿. Whoa, they're killing it, blah, 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 whatever. 𝐂𝐸𝐿 offers me a contract. Like, nah, can't do it. Can't go against my father and who I am. He goes, are you sure about that? It was a good contract. It wasn't cheap. It was good. And so then I'm like, no, we're good. I'm sorry, whatever. And I'm like going, God, man, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of boards and a lot of money. And I'm like, So I passed it up and went back to making boards and just finally figured out why they weren't working. Finally. And got rid of that, started making boards that work again. But I also, when I went to Hawaii, I was working with John Carper. So I stayed with John Carper on building me guns for Hawaii. He did my concept, didn't work. Just let me do my own thing. All right, fine. I will be humble. You can be the master. Made me a couple boards. Worked incredible. The way I was raised, my dad was kingpin. Me, I was a prince coming up to become the king. I didn't look at anybody's stuff, didn't care. They all sucked. You're all kooks. You don't know how to shape. We're the best. Well, if I didn't grow up like that, who knows where I'd be? So many things happen in your life that you think, if I could have just adjusted a little bit, that my designs could have got better earlier than later. So between my dad and Bob Hurley, a couple other shapers that came through the shop, Bronze Dozzies with those guys, and then growing up with Bradshaw, and then making that phone call to 𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐥𝐿 out of the blue. He didn't expect... Who expects Richie Collins to call them when he's his own surfboard company?
Yeah.
No. Hey, and then JC, I met him in Japan, 1990, and right after I lost another sponsor. And then at the end of the year, I struggled in 1990, and he gave me his card. And so I just felt in my heart that I should call him. Being a Christian, growing up in a Christian school, Calvary, Maranatha Christian Academy, and JC being a Christian, 𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐥𝐿 being a Christian, I just felt that in my heart that if someone's offering you something, just be humble and take it. I wasn't taught that way. Everybody I meet is your enemy. Nobody's your friend. Everybody's out to rip you off. Don't trust anybody. Hate everybody. Pure hate. Okay? If you ever meet one of my friends, talk to them. It's not easy to get along with. If you pissed me off, I'd start slapping you around. I didn't care if you're big or not. I was just on a whole different stupidity. And for me to call JC, hey, this is Richie Collins. Hey, how's it going, man? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm pretty good. Hey, I really don't have a place to stay. I hate asking. Oh, yeah, come on over. I got a broom. What's that? Blah, blah, blah. I got a car. If you think you can fix cars, you can drive a car. Okay. Just
Bent over, backwards.
Just never in my life. Didn't even know what to feel. Didn't hang out with the crew because I didn't go to people's houses and hang out with my buddies, Maddie and Kelly and all. Everybody, they grew up with the moms and dads over there. I didn't go to those places because I didn't know how to interact with anybody. I, to this day, still have a hard time doing it because it was just a closed-in box.
Right.
And I got kicked out of kindergarten. That's how bad it was.
From fighting.
Fighting and running away from school and kind of beating up the two teachers. And finally the principal said, dude, your kid's out of here. They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was left alone at River Jetties by myself when my mom and dad worked.
Yeah.
I was 5 years old.
Right.
I didn't have anybody around. I didn't know what my problem was. So letting go and just like kind of standoffish, like, okay, is this real? Going to 𝐂𝐤𝐥𝐿 and asking him, not being invited, but hey, do you think I can get a board from you? Like, you don't have to glide, just want you shaped, and I'll do all the work myself. And yeah, no problem, come on up. It's like, okay, you know. During the OP that time too, is board worked really good, but it got big. Remember how big it got? I was 𝐂𝐤𝐥𝐿 big. I mean, I had a heat with 𝐂𝐤𝐥. I
remember watching, I recently watched that, the one where you beat Curran.
That was 89.
So it wasn't the same one, obviously.
That was 2 years later.
Okay.
It was super big.
Okay.
And I didn't want to ride anything else but that board. But the board wasn't holding. It was big. It was 6 to 8 foot, closing out into the pier. And I loved that. I was launching floaters into the pier off at 20-foot face waves and landing them. You know, people were like, oh my God, you know. But I couldn't get the thing to do a bottom turn. So the day before the finals, after I surfed, that's it. Went to the shop, took the tail, shaved it a 1/2 inch at the tip. Went back out. Still had to grab my rail doing a bottom turn, but it held. And I made the final. But the final day got a little smaller by the end of the day. But the final day, me and 𝐂𝐤𝐥, I know you're living here now. I wish you were here right now. It'd be great if you were here. I think it was the semifinals. And it was 4 to 6 feet with some 8-foot crazy waves coming in. And it was barreling gnarly into the pier. And I had just caught this wave, did this huge floater. 𝐂𝐤𝐥 was paddling out, landed it, came up, did a big turn, and rode it through the pier. And I could see it in 𝐂𝐤𝐥's eyes. And I'm like, don't do it, dude. Don't. He paddles out. I'm paddling out. Freaking massive set comes in. I see 𝐂𝐤𝐥 paddling. And I'm like, no, God, no. No. He takes off. And the thing's like 2 times over his head. Straight into a bottom turn, straight up into the lip, up on top. And I'm like paddling out as fast as I could. If you make this, I lose. You fall, you die. And I'm going, and I'm paddling after him, coming out through the pier, going straight at him. Because if he eats it, he could die. Because he's only maybe from here to that wall, 20 yards away from the pier, floating an 8-foot wave. And if you don't land it, you are in the pier. Launches, comes down, lip coming down with him. He lands, does the splits, and eats, you know what I mean. And I just said, oh my God, I have to save 𝐂𝐤𝐥. And as soon as the lip landed on him, he just, I mean, I can see it now, just the lip, just, my friend. Even though we were just, every time we surfed against each other, right? And I'm starting to paddle over, and I don't see him. And there's the first tee, the second tee, the middle tee where the lifeguard tower is, right? And this is the old pier. This ain't the new one. It's the old one. So I'm like, because the old pier was great to shoot all day long. The new one sucks. Ruined the waves too. So I'm like paddling, and I don't see him. And I'm just looking straight into the pylons, just about to go out. And there's more waves coming in. And all of a sudden I see him pop up. And somehow he got washed that way and didn't get washed with the wave into the pier. And I'm like, oh, thank God. He comes up and he just got pounded. I mean, he was beat. And he gets up and I see him. He got around the tee and he went around. And I'm like, and all I had, and that pretty much solidified it. I was good to win that heat, you know. I caught another wave, did my thing and won. But man, I tell you, that, I mean, I did some big ass floaters back in the day on biggest waves I could find. 𝐂𝐨𝐥𝐿 10-foot surf, boom, launching from like 20, 30 feet in the air, just launching and landing like I used to windsurf. But that wave, that critical into the pier, I mean, I can do it. But there's a distance to where you just know. Too close. 10 yards further back, no problem. But where he was, glad you're still alive, buddy.
I know. I want to dig up that footage.
It was heavy. I think someone has it, but it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It was heavy.
That's gnarly.
So
one of the other kind of final things I wanted to ask you about was just a quote that I read about you saying something to the effect of the concept of soul surfer is completely foreign to me. Mm-hmm. Surfing is all about competition.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
For me, yes, 100%. But now that I've started the third of my life, or the third quarter of my life, however you want to say it, I have a lot of people to be thankful for to bring me where I am at. Back in the day, I didn't surf to surf. I surfed to win.
Right.
I surfed because it became a job and it became money, a way of living. There is no such thing as soul surfing in my anything. Brain, body, heart, soul, nothing. There is no soul. But through everything I've been through and the people that helped me, especially physically, like Tim Brown and Dr. G, it's made me look back on my past and all the people I've met, and understanding back in the day when you'd go to someone else's surf break and they hated you because of what you've said or who you are or whatever, and been written off, and surfing is about having fun and soul, and then I'm like, you guys piss off. You guys go have your soul trips. Go ahead. That's not me. You can't do what I do. I can't do what you do. It just doesn't work. That was stripped away from me by the time I was 9 years old. Before it was fun. Let's go surf, hang out. No. It was stripped away from me by the time I was 11. By the time I was 13, I was ready to fight everybody in the water. By the time I was 16, I was fighting people in the water. I didn't care. But now that my competition days are so far gone behind me that even getting invited to be in a U.S. Open X Pro.
Yeah, it was like the Heritage Series heat or something like that.
I was like, I would love to do it, but I'm in Hawaii. I probably would do it. And I'd probably just sit there and just
soak it in.
I don't surf anymore. I don't care to surf anymore.
You mean literally?
Literally.
When was the last time you surfed?
Probably 4 weeks. Next week will probably be 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I don't even know what I did the last time I surfed. I'm trying to think. I really can't remember anymore because I live in Hawaii now for almost 4 years. I've been going there since 1980. I grew up on the North Shore since 82. All my friends that I met. I've never, ever been able to enjoy my whole life where I am, ever. When I paddle out now, Oh, it hurts. I'm in so much pain when I paddle out. I last barely 45 minutes. My neck seizes up. My hands go. My first thumb goes numb. This one goes numb. And if these fingers start going numb, I seize up and I can't move. I'll get out of the water and I can't get out. But when I paddle out, I gotta sit up. Oh my God, I'm in pain. I want to surf so bad. I want to take off on a wave and rip it to pieces. If I didn't have all this 8 surgeries I need done, I could probably still compete at the top level because that's where my mind is. My mind, me. But God wants me somewhere else in my life right now. My life consists of waking up in the morning, wearing trunks all day, working in shorts all day, trunks all day. I don't wear anything but trunks and a pair of shoes. And I just sit there in the water, turn around and stare at the mountains. If you ever go to Hawaii and you paddle out, turn around and just look at the mountains. Never been able to do that. I come to California and I'm disgusted. Can't see the mountains. They're covered up with smog and haze and crap. Can't even breathe the air. My nose, I've been here for what? 2 weeks and a day now? I've been stuffy since I got here. Can't even breathe, you know? But that's life. But for me, I finally can understand what they meant about being a soul surfer. I think I'm on a different level than you guys now. I'm so above being a soul surfer and so beyond being a soul surfer now that you guys don't even know what the meaning is. Because I sit out in the water and I hardly catch waves and I soak it all in. And I just look at God's creation. That's what I do.
Do you enjoy it, the act of surfing now, more than you did when you were on tour
In my
competing?
head, I picture waves and I'm ripping them. But when I get out there, I can't get to my feet.
But what I'm saying is it seems like you're actually having more joy in your current experience than maybe you even had on tour when you were at the top of your game.
Yeah, I have a lot more joy in my life now than I've ever had in my life. Because for me, I've become the person that I was when I was a child, before all this started. Because when I was 5, I get to do this. When I was 6, I'm starting to do it. When I'm 7, I have a store at the beach. I can grab any board I want, as long as it's not a brand new one. And I can just go and just play. Ride skin boards, ride a boogie board, have fun, you know? Learn how to catch a whitewash, meet some kid out of the blue, and hey, let's see who can ride the whitewash the farthest. That was so much fun. Just so innocent and enjoying everything about it. Just sucked away from me.
Well, I'm glad you could tap back in.
I tried to do that with my daughter, tried to have her enjoy it, but I sucked it away from her too.
Is she still surfing?
She quit, over it. She didn't care for the attitude, the cattiness, the stupidity of it. She was torn between two worlds. She has my attitude, but has a super soft side. So she kept getting torn. I tried to tear away the softness from her and get her to want to literally beat the crap out of people in the water. Not out of the water like me. Just, hey, you got to learn to be very angry and upset and hate everybody in the water. But when you get out of the water, you can be friends with them. That wasn't us. And she did very well, as you can see the trophies up there. So I started her on the tour too early. Hey, let's do this. Because I could see how good she was at 11, and I knew what the girls were doing on tour, and I knew that I could get her just high enough, a good enough ratings to keep that rating every year, to only pick and choose. So when she was ready, boom, she was on. But after she won the Sunset comp when she was 14, by the way, it was closing out, freaking massive, I was caddying for her and Kalani David at the same time. The channel was 8 feet, closing out. Caddy's boards were breaking. I had 3 boards with me, and I was getting stuck inside. And I seized up, got sucked out to sea, and they had to come and get me.
Wow.
It was gnarly. So, Kalani David got second, and my daughter won. And for $1,000 she got for risking her life and her dad's life in closed out sunset. Some gnarly sunset for little girls to be surfing out there, let alone little boys. You know, she was 14. But like I said, I started her surfing sunset at 9, and she fell in love with sunset. She fell in love with big waves. But no matter how much love I had for my girls and for Mia, the attitude came back. Something I was hoping would never, ever come back. You know, my dad had a bad attitude. My mom had a bad attitude. I took it to the next level. And she lost even before COVID hit, things weren't really working out too well. And when COVID hit, she was like, I think in the top 10, just ready to go to New Zealand. And she couldn't go. She had to come back here. And so that was it. That long break, she didn't care to get back into it. Then she tried for a little bit, was doing okay, but not really. But she found a new life. She found a life out of surfing. Like, no more screaming and yelling. I don't have to hear my daddy yell at me. The conflict between so much love with so much anger. And she has a lot of love and a lot of anger that I taught her not to be when she was younger. But I had to get it back to where the fight is real in the water. And then when she met all these little girls she grew up surfing against, and then they got a little catty when they got older, a little more aggressive, that she didn't like, but wanted to stay friends, but couldn't put the two together. Like, say, me and Sonny. We get in a hassle or we want to punch each other out, and the next day we're like, oh, dude, give me a hug. You know, it's just, girls are different than boys, I guess.
Totally, yeah.
Of course. Yes, girls are different than boys, damn it. And, but she's a golfer, and she's been competing in golf for over 15 years. So she decided not to surf anymore. The last time we did a surf comp, we were down at the Supergirl. She did really well. She lost to Caroline Marks. She got 5th. went in the U.S. Open, lost, went to Europe during COVID, lost every first heat, went to Hawaii, lost first heat. She just didn't listen anymore. She didn't want to listen. She didn't know how to say, look, Dad. And she did. She told me. She told her mom, I don't want to do this anymore. But you have that opportunity. You're right there. You can do it. You know? All right. You know, if you really want me to, I don't want you guys to be disappointed in me. It's not like we're disappointed that you're not doing it. We're disappointed that you just don't try to do it. Keep going and doing it. We love you no matter what, whatever decision. Yeah, we're going to be bummed if you decide to just drop hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just, that's it. I'm done. You know? And she did. That was it. Last contest. She doesn't surf anymore. Got brand new boards. I mean, got some Lost boards for her. I got some Timmy Patterson's for her. I got 𝐂𝐟𝐵𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿's for her. You know, I did everything I could. Let's step out of the box. Get different boards. I see this guy ripping on a board. Hey, I need a 5.6 done up, same exact board for my daughter. Go down and pay for it. You know? So I told the shapers, this is what I need. This is what I need. You know? So she quit.
You started off discussing your misgivings of how you coached her, I guess, is what it would have been. Have you expressed to her any of those misgivings or admitted?
I apologize every time.
Okay.
I can't apologize more than I do.
Yeah.
And she knows I'm sincere. But it doesn't matter. We have pictures. There's when she was just like maybe 2. You know, she's U.S. Open right there. I have pictures that were put in the magazines. People said bad things. That we were in Australia when she was 11, and she had a heat against some of the top girls. She had them beat. She was first place all the way until 2 of them got just the score they needed. And then all of a sudden, Mia got the last wave to get her on top. She rode it really good, hit the lip, and fell. It was a hard wave. And, anybody could have fell on that wave. But it's easier for an 11-year-old to fall on that wave because she was so little. I wasn't bummed. I have the picture. I had my hands in my pockets, and I was looking down at her, just telling her how proud I was. She was looking up at me, crying. Because she was so disappointed that she lost, and she felt that I was disappointed. I wasn't. And people thought I was yelling at her because of that photo. I had my hands in my pocket telling her how proud I was. Because there's not one thing she could have done in that heat better than what she did. Not one thing. She did everything right. Let the other girls make mistakes. As long as you do exactly what you're told to do and you know what you're supposed to do. She did everything. And she wanted to hit the lip harder. All she had to do is milk the lip, and she would have finished second. If she would have hit, way she hit, close out on the shore at Merriweather. There's rocks there. She hit the lip. She went for it. If she would have made that, she would have won the heat. There was 1, maybe 2 CT surfers in that heat. She would have won that heat. And man, I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't hit the lip. You're good. just bottom turn, bam, coming down. The wave exploded on her. And she and fell. I was just like, oh, man. I was like, that would have been awesome. All the girls were getting like 3s and 4s and 5s. It would have been an 8.
Yeah. Proud of her for going for it.
Oh, just,
yeah.
I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
You never did. Dad, I wanted to win. I'm like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
You know, and there are so many things that, oh, you're yelling at your daughter, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't yelling at my daughter that time. I was cussing and swearing at the freaking ocean. Wanted to kill the ocean. Go over here. Go, wave goes over. Like, so angry, you know. It was my own pride and my own ego, selfish. Everything you can possibly know and name in a person is me that is bad. And, you know, we had great trips together, traveling around the world when she was young, packing her bags, teaching her how to travel, what to do, you know. I miss doing all that. But if I could do it all over again, it would completely change 100%, no matter what. I would not do what I did before. I miss being with my daughters. I miss them when they're little girls, playing in the sand with them, teaching them how to surf, how to swim, how to skateboard, you know, teaching them how to fight. My younger daughter, she's a boogie boarder. Doesn't anymore. Loved teaching her how to boogie board. Loved it. That was my favorite. Because she'd sit on the outside with me and want all the best waves. Uh-oh. The younger daughter's going, back off, you know. She's got right away, takes off. Someone gets in her way. What are you getting in my way for? So classic. So, I just, you know, they're all grown up. My daughter's getting married. My other daughter, Lila's really into golf right now. Wants to do good enough to maybe get a scholarship, hopefully back to UH in Hawaii. Between her grades and golf, she loves Hawaii. She's like part of Hawaii. And my younger daughter, she's going to college right now. Just kind of cruising through life and working and seeing what she wants to do, you know? And I'm proud of all of them. Good. So,
well, enjoy. I know you miss the young chapter, but enjoy the next chapter too.
The next chapter is going to be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you this. My dad, I have a 3-year-old. And so I was talking to my dad at some point about the time just flies, you know, like, oh God, he used to sleep on my chest.
Yeah.
That went away like that. I thought that, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, I understand what you're saying. Try to enjoy every moment. But he goes, I enjoy my time now with you as an adult son as much as I enjoyed those times too. So don't be regretting the past. Don't be anxious about the future. Just enjoy what you guys are doing at the moment. So.
That's kind of what I'm trying to look at right now. But living in Hawaii, being separated, it's been very, very hard. And when I first went over there and took the job, I didn't think I was going to move there. I thought I was just going to come cruise back and forth, no big deal. But I got so busy and got to do so many things. I had no work here. And I was over it. And I had plenty of work over there, so I stayed. But every morning, it wasn't getting up and making my kids food. Every afternoon, it wasn't picking up from school anymore. Every night, it wasn't cooking them dinner or going out to dinner. Every weekend wasn't going to the beach or doing something, going to the movies all the time. You know, hanging out, watching movies here or doing stuff. It's just gone. It's like, boom, gone. You're done. And the transition I'm in right now is very difficult. And I know that God is molding me into something new. So I'm really looking forward to it, being more patient with everything and humble and more at peace with the whole world around me. I don't have any fight left in me at all. I'm done. Don't take that for granted, but I really don't. I just want to live my life, make people happy building them boards, and wait to see what God has for me and my girls, and just go from there and just, kick back with my friends once in a while. If I can get a chance to go to dinner with them, great. I'll do it. But for now, every day for me is going to be a mystery. And I definitely am not going to, or try not to, repeat my past, because that got me nowhere. Yeah. I mean, it got me to a certain area, but then that was a quick fix. And Roger Hines works with me, and I work with him, and he says this, that. I go, Roger, I tell other people, you got to understand something. I used to have everything. House, cars, motorcycles, anything I wanted, I had. Could go anywhere, but it was a job. It was a job that I learned to hate. It was a job that I couldn't control my anger. And I blew up, and I blew it. And I did things I should never have done, but I could not stop. And then I lost all of it. Everything's gone. Do I have anything left? I got a couple boards left. All the money's gone, And then I met my wife in 96. We got married in 97. First daughter was born in 99. I started a new life. And, unfortunately there was 70 to 80% of Richie Collins left in that. And now that life is gone. It's all over. And basically 6 years ago, life started over again. And 4 years ago, moving to Hawaii, to this present day, it's different.
Yeah.
I lost everything again, but not in the same sense.
Sure.
So I'm really looking forward to my next 25, 30 years. To be honest, I don't want to live that long because the pain I'm in every day, I can't handle it. But I'll surf, I'll go play golf, shoot in the 70s all day long. And I'm in nothing but pain. I'll build boards, I'll build houses, whatever. So, like I said, learning to have joy in my life, be at peace, being humble and patient. And people talk about happiness. I have no idea what that means.
Really?
I don't know what happiness is. I still can't figure it out because I've had everything and I still have everything and nothing makes me happy. So I don't understand. And I've talked to my sister about it too, and she goes, same thing. I don't know what it is. But she's finding out now that she started the second chapter of her life. And I'm very happy for her. So we'll see what happens.
I think it sounds like you're in a healthier perspective now.
Yeah.
In a position
Not as
of
angry.
Well, it seems like a position or a posture of humility.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to start. I have zero advice on how to find happiness, but I think being in a posture of humility is a gateway towards peace.
Yeah.
And then you go from there, maybe.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to the same thing. Peace, joy, happiness. You know, if you can combine everything and get to a certain area, I mean, true happiness for me is believing in God and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. That's my happiness, because I know there's nothing in the world that will make me feel the way I feel unless I have God in my life. And it wasn't for God choosing me to be who I am and using me for, I don't know, whatever, helping other people when I can, I think that I got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
You know, and reading the Bible as much as I can, learning all the stories and understanding, wow, if that guy was like that and God forgave him and made him king, then I know I'm forgiven.
Yeah.
I might not be king, but at least I know that forgiveness is there. And judge not, yet you be judged. And I try not to judge anybody, but I'm really having a hard time not judging our government right now. So I just, you know, I don't, to be able to enjoy life is a crazy concept. And to be able to start feeling the enjoyment is even crazier for me. Because that's not something that I can.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Try it. Like going into the ocean, not catching a wave, just enjoy.
Yeah.
Try to just soak it in.
Yeah.
Embrace what's to come.
Yeah. Every day.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Surf Splendor.